Hello everyone, welcome back to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at Death in the Clouds, chapter 9 and 10. And this chapter starts off with Hercule Poirot and the French officer, I can't remember his name, Foumont. It's actually hard for me to pronounce his name, which is Fournier? I'm not too sure. But this chapter is called Elise Grandet, and it's all about the maid of Madame Giselle. But it starts off with Pierre and this French inspector flying back to France. And while they're on the flight, Fournier, he's actually walking around with a little piece of bamboo, and he's practicing shooting a dart. And so he'll kind of peek around the chair and blow off, and some people will kind of look at him funny. He'll go to the bathroom, try to shoot someone, or try to come back, shoot someone. He ends up trying different experiments. By the time he sits down, everyone in the plane is looking at him. There's about 8 people. And he talks to Pierrot about this, and he's like, man, every time I try it, someone sees me. And Poirot says a few things. He's like, yes, that's right. Everyone sees you. So there's a few different things here. One, sounds like maybe during the flight, someone actually saw the murderer shoot the blowgun, and that person is lying. So someone is lying. Well, definitely someone is lying, because one of these people are the killer. Or maybe that person wasn't actually killed by a blowgun. Maybe there was another way that person died. Hercule says something really, really interesting. And he has an idea that, if you guys don't mind me reading here, and this is page 87 if you have my book. But this is at the beginning of chapter 9, just maybe on the next page. He says, I agree that there must have been a psychological reason why nobody saw the murderer. Okay, maybe not a psychological moment, like a shocking thing, but at least a reason. So Poirot's really good at half agreeing with people that, yeah, there is a reason that nobody saw the murderer. But my ideas are running in a slightly different channel than yours. I feel that in this case, mere ocular facts may be deceptive. Ocular is going to be one of our vocabulary words. It means sight or eyes. So observation, eyes, can be deceptive. Close your mind, my friend, instead of opening them wide. Close your eyes, my friend, instead of opening them wide. Use the eyes of the brain, not of the body. Let the little gray cells of the mind function. Let it be their task to show you what actually happened. Now, the inspector doesn't quite understand this. And Poirot says something really interesting. And this is going to be based on my discussion question. But he says, because you are deducing from things you have seen. Okay, this is why you don't understand. Because you're trying to deduce from things you have seen. Nothing can be so misleading as observation. Okay? My discussion question is, what does he mean by that? But there's something there. He has some idea that something is missing, and he's trying to give us a hint to what it is. Maybe this can help you decide what that is. I don't know yet. They land the plane. They go to Madame Giselle's place and where her office is. This is number 3, Rue Juliette. And there's a doorkeeper. They go inside. They look at her office. And in the office, there's no hints. There's no clues. And the French inspector says, there's nothing here. We've looked. And Poirot's looking around. He's like, you know what? You're right. I think there's nothing here. I won't insult you. I think you guys have done a great job. But there is something wrong. There's no life. There's no personal touch in this room. There's got to be something more. One, he looks at the safe in Madame's office, which they say that the papers were in. It's like, that safe looks too old fashioned. Something's not right. So they go up to Madame Giselle's room, and there is the maid, who is Elise Grande, and they get a lot of different information from Elise. One, we find out that there is another safe, and it's actually in this hidden safe that the papers were actually in. We also learn that Elise is very loyal to Madame. She got into some trouble and had a baby, but there wasn't a husband. But Madame helped her out, gave the baby to a good family, and then Elise was her loyal servant for the time until Madame died. Now that information happens later, but also we learn that Madame wasn't a very cruel person, but she was very clever. And Elise thinks that Madame Giselle is actually really kind. So the French inspector, tries to get some information. Elise doesn't really share much. He leaves, but Poirot stays, and he's like, in every case, there is someone that keeps the truth. Oh, is this in... This is in the next chapter. In the next chapter, Little Black Book, Poirot, they take some time understanding Madame Giselle, who she was, what kind of person she was, how Elise saw her, what kind of battles she had with her clients. Elise doesn't know much. The doorkeeper probably doesn't know much either, because Madame Giselle is very private and very protective. But after the French inspectors finish, Poirot starts walking around. He's like, Mr. Poirot, Monsieur, is there something you're looking for? And he's like, yes, I am. It's like, I don't see any pictures around here. And we learn that Madame Giselle is a very private person, and that her daughter must have been born out of wedlock, meaning when she was single or not married, she had a baby. Later on, we learn that the father might have been an Englishman. Some small details here. But we also find, more importantly, a hidden truth. That there's something that Giselle's not sharing. And Poirot says, in every case, there is always someone that holds something back. Whether for ignorance or whether on purpose. They just hold something back, and it can be a key to this case. And he says, Madame, or Mademoiselle, I think, because maybe she's a young lady, there's something you're holding back from me. And she says, yes, there is. I have a black book from Madame that she couldn't find. She always keeps it on her. She didn't give me orders to burn it, so I didn't know what to do, and I have this black book. Hercule takes it, and there's some notes in there that we can't understand. Maybe Monsieur Poirot understands it. We'll find out. But in this black book, there's some information, and Hercule takes it. That leaves us with some vocabulary words. Ocular, which I already talked about, is dealing with the eyes and seeing. Obstreperous. I had no idea what this word is. I had to look it up. It just means rough or tough or loud. Saying some of her clients might have been, why, you can't do this to me. But actually, most of the clients were like, oh, please, Madame, please. They were not rough. They were actually really pathetic, is how Elise describes them. Efficacious is useful, efficient, doing it in a way that is profitable or works well. Sentiment is feeling. Say Madame Giselle was not a sentimental person. Maybe that's why her office has no life in it. Well, the truth was, that really wasn't where she kept her stuff or did business. Indignation. Indignation is like anger, but when you have been hurt for doing the right thing. Okay? Maybe you held the door open to let someone go inside, and then someone said, hey, it's cold, shut the door. And you're like, I'm holding the door for this person, right? All that anger, that is indignation. When you do the right thing, but you still maybe get in trouble. Uh, Ejaculation is an outburst. Maybe sometimes when Madame and her client was talking, there was an outburst. Now stop that! Or you can't do that to me. Okay, some strong like that. Omitted means left out, taken out, deleted. And Hercule tells Elise, you have deleted something. You have left something out. You have kept something. Restive is uncomfortable. So Hercule starts to just look at her. You are hiding something. And she's, okay, she kind of feels uncomfortable. Maybe you felt like that when your mom is like, did you eat the last cookie? Okay. The last one, memorandums, which are notes. The word, if you think of memo, kind of comes from this word, is a little book where she had some notes inside of it. That leaves us with our discussion question, which I kind of asked before here, is what does Prero mean by nothing can be so misleading as observation? Give me your thoughts about that quote. And of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today. But thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.